AI versus the artist. Art is dead. Every day, we see news headlines like these telling us that generative AI is destroying our creative industries. These headlines paint the harmful zero-sum mindset that we've fallen into, the idea that the success of AI must come at the expense of human creators. In short, either AI thrives or artists, but not both. There's no denying that AI is one of the greatest innovations that we've seen. By 2030, AI will contribute nearly $15 trillion to the global economy. And it's revolutionizing nearly every industry we know. Take healthcare, for instance. With AI, we can now predict and treat diseases such as cancer and malaria with a level of precision and accuracy that we've never seen before. But amid these breakthroughs, we've also seen the serious challenges that AI poses, particularly to creative fields, with the rise of generative AI. Artists' works are being used in AI firms' training datasets without credit or compensation. You might be wondering why you can't watch the next season of White Lotus or Stranger Things or the next Mission Impossible movie until next year. Well, 12,000 members of the Writers Guild of America went on strike earlier this year for 5 months to protest the growing role of generative AI in the entertainment industry. So to determine whether AI really is the end of human creativity, we need to start by asking, what is AI? What is it that we're creating? Many believe that AI is a tool designed to replace human creativity, but I think it's something else. AI is a reflection of human creativity. It learns and grows based upon the works that we as humans have created. AI doesn't replace human creativity, it reflects it. So why do we keep seeing all these claims that AI is the end of human creativity? Today, I want to reshape the way we think about AI's role in our world, particularly with regards to innovation ethics. This zero-sum mindset is not only wrong, it's harmful and it limits our vision. We need artists for AI to continue to generate valuable works. And we need AI firms and their programmers to amplify this creativity in return. This isn't a zero-sum game. This is about creating incentives for both AI firms to continue developing these services for us and for artists to continue creating. And this is the heart of the matter, incentives. Our current system fails to establish a proper incentive structure that incentivizes AI firms to continue investing their resources in AI research and development, and artists to continue creating in a way that ensures their mutual long-term growth. Think about how much we use ChatGPT on a daily basis. Whether we're writing emails, coming up with our schedules, or doing our homework, our reliance on AI is growing at a frightening rate. So the next time you use ChatGPT, whether that's tomorrow, tonight, maybe right after this, remember how important it is for us to incentivize AI firms to continue making these services for us and artists to continue to create so that we, in turn, can continue to benefit from these services. Traditionally, we've used intellectual property IP law to incentivize human creators by rewarding human authors for their works with credit and compensation. But who's the human author when it's the AI machine who's doing the creating? When you're using ChatGPT to write your essay, are you the user who inputs the commands the author? What about the AI firms and the programmers, the minds behind building these machines? Or could it be the artists whose works are included in these data sets? After spending nearly a year researching copyright cases both in the US and internationally, I've come to determine that there actually is no human author of AI-generated work. But we need to find a way to incentivize AI firms to continue developing and artists to continue creating. I've looked at more than 30 cases, but I believe a couple in particular illustrate this issue best. First, let's think about users. Two individuals, Jason Allen and Chris Castanova, created two works using Midjourney, which is one of the greatest generative AI platforms right now. First image on the left is a sci-fi image that Jason created using Midjourney. Second, on the left, is part of a graphic novel that Chris created. So both of these individuals submitted applications to the Copyright Office for ownership over both of these. However, the office denied both. And they said this was because human users lack the necessary control and predictability over the outputs when you're generating works with AI. Users, they merely input the commands. They're not involved in the creative process, so they cannot qualify as authors. What about AI firms and their programmers? Imagine this. A wildlife photographer goes into the middle of a rainforest, and he leaves his camera in the center so its settings can accommodate to its environment. The brightness, the contrast around him. Suddenly, a monkey seizes the camera and takes these selfies. The photographer loves these selfies and immediately starts licensing them, assuming that he's the human author. So this case was actually taken to court. And the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals sued the wildlife photographer. They said, hey, the monkey was the one who actually took the selfies. The monkey's the author. The court said no. The monkey cannot be the author because copyright law does not recognize non-human authors. But the court also said that the photographer can't be the author as well. The photographer provided the medium, the camera, for the monkey to take these selfies. But it was actually the monkey who made the creative decision in taking the selfies. This same logic applies to AI firms and their programmers. They provide the medium, the source code, that allows for generative AI content creation. But it's ultimately the AI machine itself that makes the key creative choices in the process. This introduces a fundamental level of disconnect between programmers and the output that disqualifies their claim to authorship. Next, let's think about the artists whose works are included in the data set. In order to consider whether they can qualify as authors, though, we have to first understand the creative process of generative AI. And this is broken up into three key phases. The first phase is what's called the learning phase. Let's say, for example, we're building an AI machine to generate paintings. And in our data set, we include works such as this, going back to Van Gogh. In the first phase, the learning phase, the machine starts with recognizing simple patterns. This includes colors, shapes, edges. And as it goes on, it recognizes deeper patterns, such as brush strokes or even cultural influences. The machine is not merely mimicking and copying the works, it's understanding how Van Gogh's swirling skies differ from Monet's impressionistic ponds. The next phase, this is when the AI puts all of the patterns and the relationships it's learned from the data into what's called the latent space. Think of this like a mathematical representation of the machine's imagination. The next and final stage is when the machine taps into this latent space and it combines these patterns and relationships in novel ways to create something new. This is where the magic of the AI occurs. And you'll notice there's really no elements of direct copying or mimicking in this process. In fact, it reflects how we as humans learn over the course of our lives from the different works and cultural products that we experience. So, back to the artists whose works are included in the datasets. There are two ways under current copyright law in which these artists can claim authorship. The first is whether generative AI works qualify as derivative works, and the second as collective works. So a derivative work is when an original work is repurposed into a different medium. Think a book series into a movie franchise. For example, the Harry Potter books into the Harry Potter series. In order to be a derivative work, the Harry Potter movies have to contain specific elements from the original work, whether that's the characters or the plot. In the case of generative AI, the AI blends together the patterns and relationships of the data it learns from. We cannot trace back specific elements from the original works. In this way, generative AI works can't qualify as derivative work. Second, for collective works. A collective work is a unified work that has individual parts to its whole. think of a magazine with individual articles that are traced back to individual writers and authors. But again, the generative AI works blend all the sources in the data set beyond recognition. We can't trace it back to the individual artist. So it can't qualify as a collective work either. In this way, current copyright law does not allow us to give authorship to the artists whose works are being repurposed. Now, there are major lawsuits going on right now where artists have filed complaints against major tech giants for using their work without permission. For example, the New York Times has just filed a major case against OpenAI and Microsoft for using their articles without permission. These cases have the potential to reshape copyright law in ways that we've never seen before. But for now, the law cannot help us to credit and compensate these artists. And it also can't help us credit and compensate AI firms who invest all of their resources to build these services for us, so we can use ChatGPT every day for our homework. So we need to look in other areas for solutions for this in order to create incentives for both AI firms and artists to continue innovating. I believe we can do this with a twofold economic policy plan. That first would ensure AI firms get a share of the profit that users get from commercializing the generative AI works. For example, say you're a film company and you're using Midjourney to create images, like we saw before, for your new movie, and your new movie is a hit. You can bet that Midjourney is going to want a percentage of that profit. Second, we should ensure that AI firms dedicate a percentage of this profit to the artists whose works are included in the training data sets. First, Midjourney, as previously mentioned, one of the greatest generative AI giants right now, has recently implemented a commercial user policy. This establishes that any user grossing more than $1 million must give Midjourney a percentage of their profits. I believe we should make this policy uniform for all AI firms, so AI firms can continue to invest their resources in giving us these services, knowing that they will get a percentage share of the profits that people make from their work. Second, we should ensure that AI firms dedicate a percentage of this profit to the artistic sector, not to the individual artists whose works are included in the data set. And this is because that would be impossible. These data sets contain hundreds of gigabytes of works. So tracing back generated works to the individual artists would be extremely difficult. Instead, AI firms should dedicate this percentage of profit to the artistic sector as a whole. For example, we could ensure AI firms dedicate 7% of annual profits to artist guilds or university art departments or art scholarship programs. This would allow both sectors to engage in cross-industry empowerment and ensure that artists, whether you're a writer or a painter, you continue to create knowing that your work and your creativity is both valued and compensated by AI firms. Current business practices have pitted these two industries against each other. We've all been led to believe that the success of AI must come at the expense of artists. If we shift our perspective from this zero-sum mindset, we can build a future in which human creativity remains at the heart of innovation and allow for both the artist and the algorithm to thrive together. Thank you.